Hello and welcome to our Sunday Shavasana session. I'm Lizzie Lasater. Delighted to be here with you. This session is for subscribers to my newsletter. In case you have found your way to this recording and you're not subscribed to the newsletter, please find it here at my website, which is lizzie.yoga, www.lizzie.yoga, and you can join. It's Sunday Self-Care is the tagline for the newsletter. So we're on live with 56 people around the world, curious yogis, tired yogis, judging from the chat. We just did a 10-minute check-in with everyone before I started the recording. So maybe you can join us next time live and ask any questions that you have. I want to also welcome SJ from Lasater.yoga. She helps us with the inbox and a lot of other behind the scenes things. Hi, SJ. Thank you so much for being here with us. SJ is just co-piloting for the day in case we need any help in the chat and any technical issues as well. So my plan for us is to spend the next hour and 15 minutes. I'd like to move a little bit, move our bodies very gently. I know some of you in California, it's early morning. And then we're going to do a delicious, luxurious, long, restorative Shavasana. And then we're going to journal. So that sequence is what I do in my home practice in the mornings. I actually do somatic strength typically, 10 minutes of somatic strength, which I learned with Mary Richards. And then I do asana practice and then typically a short restorative pose in the mornings because I want to get going, and then the journaling. And what's so wonderful about the journaling that happens after we practice a restorative pose is that our mind body shifts into this liminal space, this in-between space when we practice restorative between wakefulness and sleeping. And then I find when I immediately start writing stream of consciousness without stopping at my phone, without checking in with the internet, just going from the pose directly to the journal, things bubble up, which are wonderful. It's a wonderful source of creativity and inspiration. The kind of sparks from my newsletters, Instagram posts, all kinds of stuff, intuition, things for my personal life, for my work life, it all comes out of that silent post-restorative journaling. Any questions from the students who are live before we move to the mat? Now is your moment to type it into the chat if you want to know anything before we get going. I want to say briefly what our theme is for the whole practice. And it's about being with the breath. So close your eyes. Wherever you are, you don't need to change your physical body. And take a few intentionally deep breaths as we begin to shift ourselves towards the practices of yoga. And feeling the breath coming into the lungs. You cannot breathe without moving. The lungs must open and spread in order to receive the breath. And so being with the breath also means being with sensation. And being with the subtle movements of the physical body. About 5 more breaths here. Not trying to change the breath or direct the breath or make it be better, longer, deeper, wider. Just closing the mouth and breathing through the nose. Being with the breath. All right. Blink your eyes open. I'm going to move to my mat. I am going to take 2 blocks with me. And Sarah, please jump in on audio if there's anything in the chat that seems relevant, any questions that I need to address. Come to your hands and knees. I did see a question about the difference between somatic strength and asana. And I'll speak to that a bit as we go. Exhaling, start in the hands and knees, drop the head, lift the belly, always cat-cow for me at the beginning. Completely drop the head. Stay a couple breaths here, rounded. So not even yet switching from cat to cow with every breath. I'm kind of gently rocking my weight forward towards my hands and back towards my feet. Really inviting the head to let go. The head is often so reluctant. When we lift the head, it's like we're thinking, we're in control, we're paying attention. And right now, I'd like you to close your eyes and let go of all of those energies. No need to think or control. And then I'm continuing to round here. I haven't even gone to cow. I'm still in cat. I'm just shifting my weight back and forth a little bit. And as I move back, I'm starting to feel a really nice stretch on the back body between the rib cage and the pelvis. As your knees will allow any amount coming down, maybe even take your block and place it under your bum so that you can take some of the weight out of the knees. And then I'm just still in that rounded. I'm not back bending here and coming forward. I'm really rounded. Chin is tucked down and my fingertips are just lengthening, reaching forward. Okay, come onto your hands and knees. And now we'll move towards cow. Inhaling here. So the question is, can you feel this back bend? This is a back bend now. Press into the hands. Can you feel any stretch, lengthening sensation between your belly button and your pubic bone? So low belly here. Can you feel some deep low belly stretch here? And we'll stay in the cow for a couple rounds of breath. Again, shifting the weight a little bit backward and forward. Do a little bit less with the neck. So this is what I call slow flow with the 3 O's. And the O's are there to remind me to slow down, to make more space, to take more breath than just 1 breath per movement. All right, come back to neutral and take your blocks underneath your hands if you've got them. And come once again towards cow, towards the back bend. And immediately I feel a different set of sensations just by lifting the hands a few centimeters, a couple inches. And I'm just gently rocking back and forth, staying in this kind of back bent shape and feeling that stretch between my belly button and my pubic bone. Deep, dark, low belly. Okay, and release, come back to neutral, release the blocks for a moment, and then now exhale, moving through cat, cow. Exhaling, we round, and inhaling, we lift up. And exhale. Somebody asked me recently on the Lasater.yoga message board what I do to warm people up for restorative. So this is the type of movement you could do. Very gentle poses done at a slower pace than normal. Now I'm shifting a little bit. I'm bringing my head towards my pelvis and then my head towards my pelvis on the other side. So I'm kind of doing I'm shifting the axis of movement here. So it's right before we were moving kind of in this front and back axis here, flexion extension, and now I'm doing some side stretching. But as I continue to shift my weight forward and backward, and now shift your head and your other hip. So we're just beginning to use some sensation to be with the breath. One more time on each side. Okay, now I'm going to elevate my hands and do a last round of cat-cow here with the hands elevated. Maybe 5 rounds of breath. And release. You can come back and sit on your heels or sit on the block. And then just come up here and check the time. Close your eyes and breathe a little bit. That idea of being with your breath. I'm going to start a timer for us. So we're going to spend about 15 more minutes moving before we shift to Shavasana. Okay, I'd like us to press back to dog pose. So I'm going to take one. I know that this block works for me in dog pose set like this, but you might need to take 2 blocks. That's completely fine. What I'm going to do here is bring my forehead to the block. So the weight of my head is being held by the block. And I'm pressing into the palms and shifting my weight back towards my heels. More breaths here. And release, come back down. Observe the effect of that pose, what it feels like in your body. Now, close your eyes, 1, 2, 3 breaths here. Okay, one more dog pose. This time, I'm going to move my pelvis in dog pose. It's like a baby cat cow movement. It's not even as much as I'm showing. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a visual here. So I'm going to press back to dog pose. The forehead comes back to the blocks. And then with each breath, I'm going to exhale and slightly tuck my tailbone. And inhale and slightly lift my tailbone. Micro movements, you might not be able to even see it from where you are, but you can feel it in your body. Turn the fingers slightly in and the heel slightly out. And release. Okay. So bring your hands under your blocks. Bring your right foot forward between the blocks in a lunge, back knees down. I like my blocks on the highest setting here. More is not better. Don't push yourself, especially if you're just waking up. If your body doesn't feel warm, inhale. And exhale, we're going to shift back, lift the toes, bow the head. Playing between these two ends of the spectrum. Inhale, lift the pelvis forward. Exhale, invite the pelvis to move back, bow the head. Inhale. I'm practicing with my eyes closed so that I can bring more attention to the sensation. And I can be more fully with my breath here. Inhale. Last time, inhaling. Pelvis is forward, initiating the movement from the pelvis. And exhale. Second side, reverse the legs. The left foot comes forward to the lunge. Inhaling. And exhaling, the pelvis shifts back. Again, my mouth is closed and my breath is moving in and out through the nose. And exhale. This practice right now, not so much about how it looks, a lot more about how it feels. Next. Release the front foot. Bring your blocks to the side. Come down onto your belly. We're going to do some simple cobras. Start with your forehead down. Let your feet come as wide as they want to be. Tops of the feet down, palms down. Inhale, lift up any amount. Maybe you're here, maybe you're a little bit higher, what feels good in your body today. Exhale, come back down. Take a full round of breath with the forehead down. And inhale. Feel the buttocks contract. All the muscles on the back body are working here to lift you up to Cobra. And exhaling, come down. Feel the gluteus maximus, the buttocks, feel it relax as you completely release. A full round of breath. And inhale. Exhale, release the Cobra, release the buttocks. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, we contract, we lift, we move. Exhaling, we come all the way down to the mat and we take a full round of breath. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Release the buttocks, release everything on the back body. Press back up to hands and knees. Take your right arm under and through. There's a little bit of a twist on the back body here. A couple breaths, eyes closed. And back to center. Don't push too hard in this because your pelvis can't really twist. Your pelvis is, so don't force your sacrum to twist, especially if you have a grumpy sacroiliac joint. Just do it in it's really a twist for the thoracic spine, for the ribs. And release. Okay, now we're going to do 2 or 3 somatic strength exercises. They're go gently, do less, modify to fit your body. Somatic strength versus asana. Asana is an inherited system of movements that come from India. My lineage goes through my mom to BKS Iyengar, Krishnamacharya. So somatic strength are functional movement and strength training body weight exercises that I learned through Mary Richards. And they're, we call them somatic strength. The way that we practice them is with the breath. And so we're not trying, it's not like a no pain, no gain type of approach. It's much more yoga mat adjacent, yoga body adjacent, yogi friendly approach. So come to hands and knees and inhale, lift your right arm up. Let me look at the clock. I'm looking at we'll stay about 30 seconds here. And that's just because we're in a class context. So I want to make sure that I'm not talking and leaving us all here a bit too long. Switch the arms. But usually I do these by counting my breaths. Maybe I would take 8 breaths for arm lift. 5 more seconds here. And release. Now lift the right arm and the left leg at the same time. Stay for 1 round of breath. And release. Left arm, right leg. and release. So we're lifting up, and then we stay for one round of breath with the arm and leg elevated. And last time, left hand, right leg. And release. Okay, let's do a plank on our forearms. So come onto the forearms and release the fingers. Turn the toes under. And I like here to kind of do these micro movements where I shift my weight slightly forward with the inhalation and slightly backward with the exhalation. And release. About one more round of breath. And release. Okay, roll over onto your back. Last somatic strength move here. Put your block between your legs. Press your pelvis up. Squeezing the block. Lifting the pelvic floor. And release. It's not really about reps or about pushing yourself here. It's about connecting the movement and the breath, but we're adding the challenge of conscious strength training here. And release. We'll do two more. Squeeze the block. Lift up. Take one full round of breath at the top. And release. Last one, squeeze the block, lift the pelvis. And release. Let go of your block and gently windshield wipe your knees. One side, one breath. And switch the knees over to the other side. Come back to center and just roll your pelvis gently around on the mat. A couple times in one direction and then a couple times in another direction. In the other direction. Now lie flat on your back and try to move your pelvis. It's almost like you're walking on your back. So you're just dragging your upper body by figure eighting your pelvis along. And then reverse and come up towards your head. It really feels really funny. And come, let that go. Let your knees fall together. Bring one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, and close the eye. Inhale your breath. Ooh. Okay, hold on. That was the end of our timer. We'll stop that. Let's see if we can change what the timer end is. And the winner is, okay. So let's set it to a beep. Okay, good. For our next timer. Okay, so you're lying on your back, your knees are together. Close your eyes. Inhale your breath to 5 now, counting silently to yourself. And exhale your breath to 5. Take a normal breath in and a normal breath out. You're going to do that 5 times. Okay. So as we let go of that, I'm going to test one of these sounds. No. Okay. Good. So roll yourself to the side, press yourself up to sitting. We're going to do a one blanket back bend pose now. Many of you know this pose if you've practiced with us before at Lasater.yoga or in person. So you just take a single yoga blanket, you fold it in half from Tadasana of the blanket, and you're looking for approximately this shape. You're gonna sit with your bum in front of the blanket and lie up and over the blanket. So we're looking for a very gentle arch in the lumbar and thoracic spine. I'm gonna get something to cover my eyes, really important. And I'm going to take another blanket and put it on top of my knees. So let me start the timer for us. Now we are officially transitioning into restorative land. So I'm really on the floor. I'm not on the blanket. And I'm back bent up and over. If you're somewhere where you don't have a yoga blanket, you can do it with a pillow, like a small throw pillow from your couch. This is just for weight. It's kind of holding my knees so that there's really no effort on my inner thighs to hold them together, the adductor muscles. And then I've been using one of these recently. It's like a cloth diaper actually. And one of my kids' dadas, we have a lot of them. So I wrap it around my eyes and then I wrap it, you can do this with a scarf, and then I wrap it behind. So it's creating darkness and a tiny bit of pressure on the skull, on the eye socket. Then I open my arms to the side. We're going to stay here now about 4 more minutes. Any last adjustments before you find stillness? And SJ, if you would mute me so that I'm not breathing in everyone's ears. Mm. Inhale your breath. Exhale. Roll yourself to the side. Let the eye bag just fall off your face, the eye cover. Now stay down. I'm seeing you, Lynn. No one else is seeing you, but stay down. Stay really heavy. Let your head come up last. When you press yourself, you're going to use your hands to press yourself up. And the head is heavy. Yeah. And then come to a seated position. Give yourself a couple of breaths. Ask yourself, how do you feel right now? What's a single word that describes your internal state? And type that into the chat. Calm, relaxed, connected, super calm, loved. Oh, Margot. Slow, soft, slow. Yeah. Hi, Georgie. Reminded. Oh, that's a beautiful word. Peaceful. So that was 5 minutes. I love one blanket backbend. I teach it in almost every restorative class. It's so accessible. Almost every body can do that. And it has an outsized effect. So it's kind of like the input output are disproportionate. Peaceful, peaceful, centering. These are great words. So you're noticing even in 5 minutes that your brain waves are starting to shift. I think it's also because of some of the movement and the breathing before. We're really primed now to accept the stillness. But I also love one blanket backbend because I have such low resistance to practicing that pose. Like when I want to practice a restorative practice myself in my home practice, like on a Sunday afternoon, and I think, oh, like you want to do it, but then you think, oh, I should vacuum my living room or whatever other, like you're watching something or you're just having resistance to get on the mat. I think that one blanket backbend is great because my mind has very low resistance to doing that pose. It's like, oh, that's easy. And then after 5 minutes where you are right now, you're hungry for the next pose. Our next pose is going to be Shavasana because you don't need to earn Shavasana through grueling hard work. You're allowed to just do Shavasana. Also, it's Sunday, which is really lovely, a lovely time and space to practice Shavasana together. So let me pull up the timer. And what we're going to do is a Pranayama Shavasana. Let me show you how the setup works. I am going to take my yoga blanket and open it up from here to here. And I'm going to do like a zigzag so that it's not very wide. Sometimes the mistake people make is they fold the blanket quite wide. So just make sure it's kind of long and skinny. And I'm going to make 2 blankets exactly like that and stack them on top of each other. I have a very long torso. I'm tall and I have a long torso. So I'm doing it this way, open and then zigzag. You can, depending on the size of your blankets, also just do a long fold from here and practice like that. But either way, you want to stack up a couple blankets so that what you're going to do is create this kind of stair-stepped effect here. So I'm not stacking them perfectly. I'm kind of going to make a little lip here. I'm going to actually do a 3rd blanket. So we're going to have a back bend in the lower back, which we're prepared for by that gentle movement practice and by the one blanket back bend. But if it feels like it's too much for you, then make it lower. Then just do 2 blankets, do 1 blanket. The idea is also we're opening the chest to invite some breathing. Okay. Then what I did is the top blanket, I made a stair step so they're not lined up perfectly here. Let me bring that closer to the camera so you can see. So yeah, oh, that's nice. So you can see, I feel like I'm on QVC shopping channel. So this is a little cascade, and they've actually moved as I lifted them a little bit further apart. So I want them to be pretty close together here to kind of fill in the lumbar spine, the lower back. So I'm going to move them a little bit closer. Good, good, good. And then I'm going to roll the top blanket over and create a little pillow for myself. Then I'm going to take a round bolster and put it behind my knees. And I'm going to take one more blanket, roll it up, and put it behind my ankles.
Lizzie, can you tell us what more about the blankets that you're using? Someone in the chat says they don't quite look like typical Mexican blankets.
Yes, thank you, Sarah, for reading that. They're not, and I get a lot of questions about these blankets, but unfortunately, the problem with these blankets is they're discontinued. I bought them in Munich, and I don't think that they make them anymore. I bought them at a Jivamukti studio there years ago. So I think they're like a cotton blend. The most important thing about your restorative yoga blankets is that they need to be firm. They need to feel good on your skin. And I don't love big tassels because I think they get in the way of folding. And I would want to feel them before you buy them. So if you're going to order them online, order one. Don't order 5, 6, 7 before you try them. One tip I know, the studio where I teach in Utrecht, Yoga Moves in the Netherlands, they have ordered for my workshops like moving blankets that they say they get for like 3-4 euros per blanket. So if you were trying to stock up for your studio, you could research that depending where you are in the world. Moving blankets, they're not like, they're 90% as soft as I want them. They're a tiny bit scratchy, but if you need to order for your studio like 200 blankets because you want to start a restorative program, you could look into that. Okay, I'm starting our timer. Okay, settle yourself in. You're sitting in front of the props. You're not on them. You're wiggled up next to them. The bolster is filling in the space behind your knees. The rolled blanket is filling in your Achilles tendon, so your heels are floating. Then you're going to cover myself up with a blanket for warmth. Also, like energetically, it's just nice to, even if it's quite hot where you are, take a thin sarong or something, a thin light blanket, just to kind of close your space, close your energy field. And then I'm going to come back onto these props that are encouraging my spine, my ribs to open. So I'm doing a back bend in this direction and a back bend in this direction. I can adjust the pillow so that it really is supporting my head and neck in a way that feels good. So my chin is slightly tucked. Ooh, yeah. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the breathing. And then I'm going to ask Sarah to mute me and we will practice together until the timer rings. So you're going to do about 10 rounds of breath. You're going to count on your own, and then you're going to let go of the breath. So the idea is we're beginning with a pranayama practice and then sliding into shavasana. The pranayama is a samavritti. We just did a few breaths of it lying on our backs before we did one blanket back bend. So you're going to inhale silently to 5, exhale to the count of 5, and then, this is so key, a normal breath in and a normal breath out. So mom learned this directly from BKS Iyengar. This is how he taught them to do pranayama. You're doing the counting breath, and then you're doing a normal breath. And I love this because it slows us down and it releases any sense of ambition or greed that we have to breathe more, bigger, better when we're doing pranayama. Make sure your eyes are covered. And then you're going to start. You're just going to start on your own, breathing, inhaling to 5, exhaling to 5, normal breath in, normal breath out. You're doing that about 10 times. I count on my body. I just have my hand or on the ground, wherever my fingers are. Then I just kind of gently press the 10 fingers one at a time to keep count of my breaths. And then once I get to 10, I just completely release all control over the breath. Remember, our theme together today was being with the breath. So any amount now for this Shavasana practice, can you be with your breath, observe your breath, watch your breath, but not try to control your breath. Let the breath lead you. We'll start now. And Sarah, you can mute me anytime. Gently turn your kneecaps up to look at the ceiling. It's time to transition out of the pose. Bend one knee and then the other. Bringing your feet on top of the bolster. And then pause here. Roll yourself to the side. And press yourself up to sitting. Yeah. Locate a pen and a journal or a piece of paper. And let me write out the prompt for you. All right, these are the prompts that we're working with. 5 minutes on the clock. Being with my breath means. Being with my breath feels like. Being with my breath teaches me. Don't edit or direct or think. Simply keep your pen moving across the paper for the next 5 minutes. There's no wrong answers. Just keep writing. And you can wander away from the prompt. You can write your to-do list, your grocery list. It doesn't matter. Just keep your pen moving. Okay. Pens down. We're going to do one more journaling prompt before we say goodbye for today's session. Let me write this one out for you. This one's a little bit more about identity and rewiring. Okay, so take whichever one resonates with you. Who would I be if I let myself rest? Who would I be if I believed I deserved to rest? Who would I be if I practiced Shavasana every day? Again, working with that theme of identity, imagining. We'll start the timer here. Imagining how rewiring your relationship to rest might ripple out into your life. Start here and go where it takes you. There are no wrong answers. 5 minutes to play with these ideas. Thank you so much for your practice today. It's been a delight to be here with you. I want to say a big thank you to Sarah for co-piloting, co-hosting with us today. I would love to see some of your responses to these 2 journaling exercises. You can reply with a sentence or 2 to one of my newsletters. It comes to me. I love to read those, or you can post a comment, even better, on the Substack. A sentence or 2 from not your whole journal entry now, but a sentence or 2 of what you discovered. When I write like this, I always discover things. Being with my breath means. How did you answer that sentence? Feeling what's already here, letting go of longing for more, staying open, those type of things. I'd love to read those. Extra credit if you post a response on Instagram as a story or as a post. If you tag me, Sarah will repost you in my story. Yes. So that's great content for you, those of you that need to create content for the week ahead. And I want to invite you to our next free event. Let me show you what we're doing. It's this lower back love series of classes, one from Mom and one from Mary Richards, in August and September. If you're signed up for our new moon mail, then you're automatically going to get the Zoom link and recording to these classes. If not, you should sign up. If you go to lasater.yoga and you click the new moon mail in the center here, then here's the link to subscribe, and that will take you to, this goes to the same place, to that lower back love class. This is just a standalone. I'm going to pop this into the chat right now. This is a standalone little landing page for those events. And the Cat Cow Intensive also just got released. So if you want that, that is going out. Let me put this into the chat to everyone. If you want the Cat Cow Intensive, which is like a free mini course that we made, that's for new moon mail subscribers as well. Okay, that's it. Inhaling the breath, open the palms away from your body. And with an exhalation, bring them together in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice. Wonderful to be here with you.